No problem.
And the blessing.
Yeah, and the blessing, sure. You know what, actually the first one who came deserves a blessing. All right, then we can start. But yeah, I've been giving lectures for about 14 years. Until 6 years ago, I was giving lectures only in Hebrew. But then I realized that most of the Israelis left New York. They don't come here anymore. It's too expensive to come here. And I decided that if I don't want to be unemployed, I might as well give lectures in English. I wasn't sure how it's going to go, but in the end it turns that in English it was a much better success than the one in Hebrew. More people came, I did more lectures, and about 5-6 years ago, I have a couple of computer engineers. They opened a website for me. They came to the lecture, they became religious, and one day they surprised me. They said, "We made you a lecture. We named it divineinformation.com. You just give us the lectures and we put them on free of charge. You don't have to pay us. We'll do everything." This is the luckiest couple in the world. Why? Because we influence tens of thousands of people in the last 5 years through this website. There's not one day that I don't get tons of emails from people, even non-Jews. Even non-Jews, they leave Christianity. They want to become just righteous Gentiles. They realize. So I just checked actually Friday. I checked there's a website called Alexa.com. Alexa. What's that? It's rating all the websites in the world, from the best one to the last in the list. There's about 5 billion websites in the world. Because, like sometimes a bank has 100 websites, And from 5 billion websites, let's guess, Divine Information is rated where? From 5 billion. 5 billion, for those who don't know,
2.5 million.
It's 5 million times million. Imagine 5 million boxes, right? In each box you have 1 million websites, right? This is what you have to imagine.
600,000.
He said 600,000. No, what do you say?
200,000.
Number 2 after Google.
All right, the first in the world is Yahoo.
Yahoo.
Number 1. Yeah, Yahoo has business, has movies. No. In Google is number 2.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you have many other famous websites. So actually we have 2 websites. One called TorahAnytime.com. It's rated number 492,000.
What?
Yeah. TorahAnytime.com. And my
492,000.
492,000. It's still on the top.
Amazing.
And it's close to the top. And my personal one, because Torah Anytime has 90 rabbis, my personal one is rated 2.7 million. In the last 3 months, I went up from 3.1 million to 2.7.
Now you have to think like a Jew. You know what kind of money you can make advertising on your website?
I told you that, Rabbi.
That's what everybody says.
That was funny.
I think the only reason it's popular is for free. Once you begin to charge money, it's going to go to Uno. So that's it. So we try to film most of the lectures, not all of them. Sometimes it's not possible to film. We try to film as many as possible and put them on the web. The main crowd come from the web, not really from the houses or from the show. Because in the best scenario, you can have a few hundred people coming to a lecture while you just put it on, and the first day, once you put it on the website, you're going to have thousands of people watch it. The first day, much more than the lecture. So the lectures is not so critical how many really people come. But still, you're expecting a decent amount of people. You don't want to come to speak to 3 people, 5 people. You don't have the desire to talk. But anyway, I'm going to give you, all of you, as you requested, a blessing. We're coming to a new Jewish year now, in 3 weeks. But the truth is that there's a lot of problems to the Jewish nation today. I mean, if you see the way where we're heading to with Israel, what's going to happen to us here in America, I'm not so optimistic, but I give each one of you a blessing that you have success, good marriage, find the right soulmate, have great children, have lots of money, and the most important thing, that each one of you will become fully righteous. You'll be a person that God loves very much. That's the best blessing. You have to do the right thing for God to love us. It's not easy, because we have a lot of evil inclination in us. But at least if the blessing will help, that's the main blessing that we should get. All of us, include myself. Okay. Any more questions before we start?
What's your name, by the way? I'm sorry.
My name is Yosef Mizrachi.
Rabbi Mizrachi.
Yeah, Rabbi Mizrachi. All right. So, any questions before we start?
Yeah, I think this may be, you just answered it, but what would be your goal in a group like this, a mixed group, different levels of observance? What would be your goal here?
Okay, well, obviously, since what I do is, is mainly to wake up some Jews that live in a life of illusion, which means they're not aware of life. What's the meaning of life? What's the purpose of life? They don't believe, some of them don't believe there's a creator to the world. Those who know there is a creator, because they look at the brilliance of the creation, they already know there has to be a creator, but they have no idea what's the purpose of the creation. And those who know that a man is the most important thing in this creation, human being, still doesn't realize what's my purpose in life, what do I live for. Most people, unfortunately, who live 60, 70, 80 years not thinking mainly in the most important things about life they'll never think about. They think about making money, about trying to be healthy, try to get married, vacations, a career, being famous. Everyone with his dreams. Work as less as possible. Everyone has a goal in his life, but almost no one aiming to the right destination. Most people live in a lie, in a big mistake. My goal, and I've been doing it tremendously successful, is proving to people scientifically that there is God. He created the world, and the most important thing is that He gave us a book, and we are the chosen people. The book said that the Jews were chosen from all the nation to represent Him here in a creation. You are my children, the Torah says, I chose you from all the nation to be mine. Therefore, you're not allowed to behave like the rest of the nations. You have to be special, you are a holy nation, and you have to follow this list of commandments. And in the end, this is what the Torah says. This is all clearly in the text, in English, in Persian, in Russian, in Hebrew. It's all the same words. Simple language. No interpretation or manipulation. Clear in the text. No one can argue with this. It says, I want you to listen to me, to follow my laws, to deal with the challenges that I'm putting in front of you. And if you will be successful, I will reward you tremendously in the end. Then in another place in the Torah it says that there are people who are considered to be wicked. Wicked doesn't mean evil. This is a very, very famous mistake that most people do. When they hear the word wicked, right away they think Hitler. They think somebody, Stalin, these kinds of people. That's wicked. Not true. A wicked could be the nicest Jew you know, with manners, polite, try to help everyone, doesn't cheat in a business, very honest, but he could be 100% wicked, this person. The word wicked does not equal evil. Evil, it's a cruel person, bad, instigate, make problems to people, steal from them, violence, that's evil. Wicked could be a person that lights a cigarette on the Sabbath. Why? Wicked doesn't mean an evil person. It could be a fantastic human being. But he does not listen to the orders of the Creator of the world. Whether he's a Jew, whether he's a non-Jew, because the non-Jews also have a mission here. They have to keep only 7 laws. It's very simple, very easy, but most of the Gentiles in the world, even with that, they fail. For instance, it says you should not kill. So right there, many Muslims violate one of their basic obligations. It says you should not steal. So a non-Jew that steals has a serious problem, because right away become wicked. It says that you should not worship any other God. No son of God, no idols, none of these things. So the Christians, all of them together, by believing that J.C. Penney is the son of God, right away they violate one of the 7 laws. You understand? And so we have, bottom line is, to be wicked means purposely to violate the rules of the Torah, which means speaking gossip about people. instigate between husbands and wife, instigate between two Jewish friends, influence other Jews to make sins, eating non-kosher, lie, worship idols, don't observe the Sabbath, not put tefillin every day, dress not modestly on the street. This is just a list from the 613 laws that the Torah gave us. But we have to remember, the Torah, most of the laws that the Torah gave us does not apply to this generation. For one simple reason, we don't have the Holy Temple. More than half of the 613 laws that the Torah gave us does not apply because there's no place to sacrifice and to do the service that the Kohanim, the priests of the Jews, used to do in the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. Right above the Western Wall, when the Muslims have the mosque, used to be the Bet HaMikdash, the Holy Temple. So, for instance, there were sacrifices of the Sabbath, sacrifices of every morning, sacrifices of the evening, sacrifice of a sinner, sacrifice of a person that wants to bring a gift because he had a kid, a little girl, a sacrifice of Yom Kippur, sacrifice of Passover, sacrifice of other holidays, each one. So today, since we don't have the temple, the replacement for the sacrifices is the prayers. So we have services in a synagogue, because the Torah says once you cannot sacrifice the cows, then you replace the cows with your lips, which means we have special prayers. Pray for Yom Kippur, pray for the Sabbath. The Torah says, v'neshalma parim sfatenu. We'll pay the cows with our lips. How you can pay your cows with your lips? How do you pay cows with your lips? That means you pray. Understand? So, now, Neshalma parim sfatenu, it's in the Tanakh, in one of the Nevi'im. Neshalma parim sfatenu. Now, also, we have to know that the Torah that we received in Mount Sinai 3,319 years ago, it was a combination of a written and an oral Torah. You cannot do one commandment in a written Torah without learning carefully the oral laws. If a person wants to follow only the written laws, he won't be able to practice even one mitzvah, nothing. He won't be able to prepare tefillin because there's no instruction how to do it. He won't be able to observe the Sabbath because he won't know what's the 39 restrictions. He won't be able to make mezuzah for his door. Why? Because he won't know how to do it. From what animal to take the cloth, how to write, with what ink, what's the right order, which chapter from the Torah you have to put there. None of that appears in the written text. He wants to circumcise his baby, he won't know where, because the Torah never say where. The Torah just say you have to cut the orla. He won't know where. So one would cut the ears, one would cut the hair, one would cut the toes. One, yeah. So anyway, then you get AIDS faster, because those who are not circumcised, their chances to get AIDS is more than triple than those who are. Yeah, there's many secrets about the Brit Milah, the circumcision in the 8th day. It's a part of the lecture if you be patient. Now, the reason there's 613 laws, the reason that there are 613 laws is because the body has 365 ligaments, 248 parts. For every ligament of our body, 365 ligaments, there are 365 restrictions in the Torah. And for every organ in a body, which is 248 organs, the Creator of the world made sure to have in the Torah 248 positive mitzvot. So now this is the way the person is created. He has 613 parts in him. Each part connects right here. Each part connects. I gotta do something with this AC on my neck, Sasha.
Yeah.
Is there any way to turn it? Maybe up or down? Or maybe you have a scarf or something.
Or if you stand on that side.
Yeah, it's going to be harder for the video. I thought about it. It's okay. All right, very good. Here we solved the problem. Very good. All right, so
Wow.
613 all together for 613 that we have in our body. Now, so far, any more questions before we start?
How many mitzvot do we have now?
Less than half of the 630. Less than half. few hundreds, but much less than 630, much less. Because remember, a part of the Torah is to bring 10% from the fruit, from the vegetables, from the wheat to the Kohanim in Bet HaMikdash. God wanted the family of Cohen. Every Jew that his name is Cohen is a very special Jew. Even though the Kohanim today, some of them live like a goyim. They don't even know, they don't realize they're Jewish. If they only knew what a special family they come from, maybe they'll treat Judaism better. But it's all come from ignorance. They just don't know who they are. It's like a son of a priest, a son of a king, a prince, that doesn't know that he's really a prince. He just doesn't know. And he walk in moving, in car service. That's what he does. And one day somebody comes to him and says, tell me, you're crazy? Your father is the king of the world, the richest man in the world, and you're driving a cab? What's wrong with you? Really? Just imagine the disappointment that he's going to have age 40 when you find out that all these years he could live in a palace and not to worry about anything. Okay, now let's move on. That's a Kohanim. That's called Kohen. Let's start the lecture. The lecture is scientific proof that the Torah is divine. Now remember, the lecture is designed in 3 different levels. Step number 1, it takes me 2 minutes to prove there is God in the world. How? Every creation has a creator. Always. You never found a creation that nobody made. Computer, someone made. Chair, someone made. The rug, someone made. There is always something that you're going to find and you know somebody made it. If you see just a rock in the street, yes, a rock could happen from an explosion of a bigger rock. Yes, from pressure. But if you see something square or round or has a shape or has a meaning, right away you know somebody designed it. It cannot be that something like this was made by itself. Even a can of Coke, just a can, the aluminum cake, I'm willing to swear on my life that somebody made it. How am I willing to risk my life? I'm not even risking my life. There's not even 1% chance that I can go wrong. Why? You see the shape of it, it's designed, it's symmetric, it's round, it has a hole, it has a cover, it's designed to pull. There's a lot of techniques in it. Somebody designed it that way. And therefore, the creation indicates about the creator. The more sophisticated is the creation, it indicates about the greatness of the creator. So when you look at this world, you are amazed by learning about nature. You learn about 2 million species, 2 million animals. You learn about the human brain. You learn about all the body. You learn about everything that happened in this earth. You are amazed. What an unbelievable creation. Everything is plant, oxygen everywhere, water is free everywhere, temperature changes in a season, leaves, fruits. The cat and orange, look inside, they're all in the right order. Not one of them is upside down or the other way around. It's always the same order. Everything is designed from a little seed, a tree comes out. A brain of a person is more sophisticated than all the telecommunication companies all over the world, multiplied by 100. Take all the telephone companies, Verizon, Sprint, Nextel, Bezek, cable and wireless, all of them together. Where are their satellites? With all their buildings and the wire all over the world, with the internet service and the wire and everything, is not 1% of the dumbest person in the world. A brain of a one person, a size of an apple. The wires inside the brain, if you hold it in your hand, you cannot even see it. 1,000 wires from the brain attached, it's one hair from your head. That's how thin they are. And they're all connected in such a sophisticated way, it will take billions of years to realize what's going on there. Unbelievable. 80% of the brain is liquid. If you pull all of them together and stretch, it will go all the way to the moon and come back. And it's all in one little box, like the size of an apple, a brain. Brain like a jelly. Something like this moves your nerve system, makes your eyes see, give order to the brain translates it, you feel flavors, thousands of different flavors you have. And the brain always, you smell something, you already have a picture, a movie in your brain, imagination, all these things. Such a sophisticated machine like a human being, who is the person that has the nerve to claim that a brain of a person could happen by a coincidence, by an explosion, accident? Who would say such a thing? If somebody would want to marry your daughter and he's going to give you such a statement, do you want your daughter to marry such a guy? You know, this person is not normal. How can he claim such a thing? If I claim that this remote control was a bunch of pieces on the floor, there was an explosion, they all started to fly, and here you go. You have a perfect remote. People say, Sasha, next time don't bother us. Do me a favor. This guy is crazy, right? But your professor in Harvard saying things that are a million times worse than this. This, you don't believe that it can happen from an explosion. But the brain, yes. A monkey can become from a big bang, from a random explosion, and develop to billions of other things. What's going on here? So, the more sophisticated is the creation, we are learning about the greatness and the ability of the Creator. That's one thing. The next step is, once we convince that there is a Creator, obviously we see the brilliance in the creation, we are learning right away that there has never been a creation without a purpose. Nobody ever made something for no reason. No one. You want to make a painting, a Picasso painting, you want to make a lot of money, you want to be famous, you like art, you want people to look at that and enjoy. So it has a purpose. You made a chair, you put something to lean on, everything was taken into consideration. You made air condition, you made it in a way that the heat will go outside to the street. Everything is designed. There's nothing, I promise you, you will never be able to find one thing that was created by anyone that this person will say, I just made it. What's the purpose of what you made? No purpose. Nothing. For no reason. It doesn't happen. And if there is something like this, check him again. Maybe he needs to be hospitalized in a mental department, because nobody wastes time, sit a year on something, make it for no reason. You understand? And if a person made something for his fun, it's also a purpose. To enjoy, to play, to do something. So bottom line, we already have 2 steps behind us. Step number 1, there is a Creator. We don't call him God yet, because we don't know anything about him. We see a creation, we know there is a Creator. Then we begin to analyze the creation. We see there has to be a purpose for this creation. Why somebody would bother to make such a world for no reason? Has to be a reason. Now comes the key question. Is it possible that this Creator created this world and made me and her and him the most sophisticated thing in the entire creation without any argument, and I don't have a purpose? Everything was made for me. Oxygen for me, water for me, food for me, cows, animals, all for me. Leather jacket, couches, rugs, wool, everything. The entire world was made for me. Rocks, wood, to make houses. Everything I have was made for me. Diamonds, sand, all these things is made for us. There's billions of things that we use, billions in the nature, were all made by the Creator for me. Is it possible that the Creator never bothered to tell us what's the purpose of the creation? Does it make sense? Did you ever see a manufacturer of anything sending his product without a manual, without instruction, without explaining about the purpose of the product, what's the product going to do for you? Did you ever see a commercial without telling you the first thing, oh, buy this, it will save you money, it will save you electric, it will make your house cleaner, whatever. Yes?
Yeah, but aren't there certain things aren't there mitzvot that we don't know the reason why Hashem told us to do it?
Sure there is.
So, as it's doing, is what we know the reason.
I repeat your words. We do not know. That doesn't mean there's no purpose for it. We do not know the purpose. We'll get to it. I have a whole lecture about how weird is the Torah. Since when rabbis give lecture that the Jewish Torah is weird? No, let's check your intelligence. Why would a rabbi come and give a lecture to non-religious people and convince them and prove to them that more than 80% of the mitzvot in the Torah are weird, against human logic?
To explain the things you can't explain.
You're on the right direction. Why would a rabbi bother 2 hours? You can check in my website, I'm not lying to you. I have a whole lecture about it. That the Torah, 80% of the mitzvot is against human logic. Nobody can understand the logic in it. It's actually, if it would be up to us, we would make it the opposite than what it is. Why? Because the source of the Torah is divine. If the source of the Torah was human, is it too cold? Too cold? You can lower it, I don't mind. You can lower it, no problem. If the source of the Torah would be human, then it must be human logic. But since it's above human, it's a superpower, a divine thing, right? We have no ability to understand his logic.
Right. What's the purpose of a manual that the reader is incapable of reading?
Oh, first of all, who told you the reader is not capable of reading?
You just did.
What?
You just did.
No, I said the people are unable to understand the secrets of this mitzvah. But it's very simple for them to understand how to practice the mitzvah. I'll give you an example. A person does not allow to write on the Sabbath. He doesn't know why it bothered God that Jews will write on the Sabbath. He will never know the secret. It's a divine order. But he knows he's not allowed to write. That's all he needs to know. If he will write, he will do the wrong thing. If he will not write, he will do the right thing. A person is not allowed to light fire on the Sabbath. Why is it? He doesn't know. But he knows what needs to be done. A person knows not to eat dairy and milk and meat together when it's hot together, melted like in a cheeseburger or things like this. It's not allowed to do. Why it bothers God that you eat cheese and meat together? We will never know the secret. Why we have to respect our parents? We won't know. Why God made us parents? He could have made us come from a tree. It will be a tree in the forest with like oranges in it. One day it falls, it breaks, and a little midget comes out and begins to walk. And here you go. He's a man. Oh, what do we need? Parents, diapers, bathroom, eat. We could be a mosquito. Mosquito never has to go. He doesn't have to go to the bathroom. He lives only a few days, between 3 and 10 days. He sucks blood, he grows, and he died. He doesn't have bathroom. No exits. No exit mosquitoes. Only in, nothing out. He could have made us also like this. We live X amount of time. For God, after we see the brilliance of the creation, obviously everything He wanted could happen. There's so many trillions of questions that we have about the creation. There's so many trillions of questions that we have about the Torah. But it's not critical. Why? We do not need to be God. The Rambam Maimonides wrote, if I knew Him, I would be Him. You got the point? If I knew everything about His thoughts and His actions and His purpose and His secrets, I would be just like Him. But I'm not like Him. I'm limited and I have X amount that I can understand. Now the concept is like this. The Kabbalah explained that what a person needs to know for his life, for his purpose, God told him. What he doesn't need to know, God was hiding it from him. He is not interested that you know the future, for instance. And we will explain it later. Look, let's move with the slides. Yeah.
So according to the Jewish calendar, we're in 5,768, right?
It's 69 in 3 weeks, yeah.
Okay, so how do you explain this Jurassic Park story? Like all the scientists, they said the world has been created millions of years ago, and the dinosaurs and everything. So what do you say is Hashem want the world created like that?
Okay, I have news for you. After the lecture, if you have time tonight or tomorrow, go into my website. Okay. I just put a week ago 2 movies by non-Jewish scientists, Americans, about the age of the world. According to their research, and they are the top scientists in the world, you can see in a movie, the world is only a few thousand years old, and the rest is all baloney. Everything they sold you until now, it's nonsense.
Fossils?
The world is only a few thousand years old. All the assumption that the scientists had about extrapolation, about coal, about all kinds of things that they base their theories on, it's all nonsense. None of it, it's a scientific proof. Watch it, let's not argue about it. Just anyone want, just watch that movie, I promise you. Believe me, take my word. You'll never waste a second of your life for all these theories anymore. You will be 100% convinced. If I put it in my website, these 2 movies, that means it leaves no doubt that the world is only a few thousand years old. Alright, and there's another reason for that. There's another reason for that. What's the other reason? If every scientist came with a different age, there's thousands of theories, why should I waste my time in so many possibilities? There's only one truth. The world has an age. Everybody comes with a different age. 10 million, 300 million, 500 trillion. Why would I waste my time? If
because 99% of the scientists in the world say it's over billions and billions of years old, not 1,000. I don't know who these 5 scientists are, but...
Watch it.
Okay, 2 scientists say it's a religious...
No.
I need a card.
They,
You know what? Can you address the dinosaur thing? We don't have to do all of it. Just the dinosaur.
listen to me.
As an example.
Here is cards right here. Here is cards right here. You can have some cards. Now listen to what I say. Listen to what I say. What I say is that there's no reason for God to create a world and only billions of years later to create Adam. What's the point? If you make a Madison Square Garden, a new Madison Square Garden in New Jersey, what's the purpose of making it?
But that's not what they believe.
For the New York Knicks to move to a new stadium, right?
How do you compare what God does and why he does it to people and what they do? Maybe people don't create cannons for no reason, but
Right.
God could create something for no
It
reason.
makes sense what you say. It's true. But again, there's a basic logic that we have to go by. If the world was created for billions of years, and only after billions of years he puts here people and animals in the 6 days of, according to the Torah, the 6 days of creation, Adam was born on Friday. From his age, we base the Jewish knowledge about the age of the Torah comes from the birthday of Adam until today. We have a chronological order, the right generations. So based on what you say, before Adam was born, it was created, there was billions of years of empty world. Nothing here.
Can you just do a lecture?
Guys, he's seen the lecture, so let's just go and we can talk to the rabbi after.
All right. So the reason I don't want to go to the edge of the world because it's a 4 hours argument.
That's right.
Just going to my website, you won't have an argument. Okay. Yeah, right.
So lower the air conditioning.
You still want to lower it?
Yeah, people
You know what? Just turn it up and open the door. You can just
No, that would be a disaster. Just lower it. Lower.
You're ready to fall asleep.
Lower it. I mean, higher.
Higher.
Make it higher. All right.
You're hot on it?
I'm okay.
All right, guys, let's start the lecture. Chavod, Rabbi.
All right. Now, if there is a superpower that created the world, and he claimed that he gave us a book, what's the first thing we have to do when we come to this book? If we're skeptic, we're not sure if this is a divine origin book, how are we going to examine the book to know for sure? Is this book divine or a crook gave it to us? Someone that has some kind of reason why he wants to convince us that he got this book from God. What's the first thing we have to do? It will take us maybe a few hours. We can prove if this book is divine or not. How would we do it?
Find out where it came from.
We will never know. It happened thousands of years ago. We have a book right now. I'm giving you a book. I say it's from God. There is a way to check and to find, sometimes to find in an hour or 5 minutes later that for sure it's not from God. I'll give you a hint. Let's say you open the book now and you see a story. In the year, 2002, the Twin Towers were attacked by Arab terrorists in the city of Brooklyn, New York. It fell in the middle of Ocean Parkway and everything went on fire. That's the story inside this book. Something like this can be divine?
No.
Can be divine or no? God makes such foolish mistake? Even us, no. We know better than Him. We're going to write better book. Is it possible that God will make such stupid mistake? That He's limited, He doesn't know the future, He doesn't know the past, He doesn't remember details. After creating such a world and writing inside the Torah that is perfect, is not limited to time, is not physical, is 100% spiritual, He's controlling everything that happens in this creation. Everything needs His approval. Nobody get hurt for no reason. Nobody become rich for no reason. Nobody becomes sick for no reason. It's all have reasons. And that's how He managed and supervised the creation. After such statements in the text of the Torah, we read that the Twin Towers collapsed in Brooklyn. What would we say about this book?
You know what I would say? I would say maybe he said that it's in Brooklyn for a reason that I can't understand. If I
No, but it's a fact.
Look, if I pull out that card anytime I want to, and say,
But it's a lie. It's
I
a lie.
can't understand.
But it's a lie.
No, but that's a
And God says not a liar.
It's a fact.
Maybe he switched the fact for a reason you can't understand.
No.
No.
There's a
You think in terms of facts and untruths.
All right.
Then
All
you
right.
shouldn't believe in
No. First, let me correct you for one reason. God say, I'm the God of justice that will not twist the truth. And the Torah says, stay away from a lie. Do not dare to lie. And God said that He's never lie. He's the God of the emet, the emet. If He writes such a thing, there's no emet anymore. The Torah is finished. Because He made a statement about Himself that you will never find a lie by Him. He is the perfect figure. No lies. You understand? So therefore, you have such a critical mistake. You cannot rely on Him anymore. Because maybe tefillin is the second lie. Maybe He played with us by giving us the Sabbath. Maybe it's also not good. That's why He had to set rules. And the rules are, I'm the God of justice. I judge everyone fairly, for good or for bad. I'm never lying. And I have God lying by me. Once you see that He's contradicting Himself, you cannot rely on Him anymore. Let's move on. So the Torah says that the rule is that if the superpower is the one who gave us the Torah, then obviously we should not have any mistakes in the Torah. Now, how many religions and cults we have today in the world? 80,000 religions and cults. Just in the United States, you have 10,000 religions and cults alone, just here. So many cults coming out of nowhere every week. Everybody, cults. Cults means like small religions, 5,000, 10,000, 50,000 people. Yeah, and those cults, they are always claiming that they also have the truth. They have a leader. Some of them has a prophet, supposedly. We don't have time to go and check 80,000 religions and cults. We don't have time for that. They all came after Judaism. When a person is searching for the truth, he has to start with the oldest one. According to history, the Jews is 3,319 years old. Christianity, 2,000 years, a little bit less than 2,000 years old. Islam, less than 1,400 years old. Buddhism, 2,400 years old. So all of them are by far after Judaism. Plus, the interesting part is that the Christians and the Muslims adopted Judaism as a part of their religion. They'll never claim that the Torah wasn't given by God. Actually, they are the best witnesses for us. Why? Our enemies saying and teaching in their mosques and in their churches that God gave Moses or Musa the Torah in Mount Sinai in front of millions of witnesses. They're not denying it. They're also saying in their books that Muhammad, for instance, received the Quran when he was alone in the desert. No witnesses for his story. And also Mary, that had a dream and she woke up and she found out that she's going to have the Messiah, is going to be born, and whatever the story is, and she tells her fiancé that she's a virgin, she's pregnant from God. All this story, only a story of one person in a dream. So the two main religions in the world started with the story of one person that had no witnesses to his story. Which means right away it starts with a 50% doubt. Right away. You will never be able to clarify this doubt because there's no two witnesses to the story. If he would bribe some of his cousins and bring them to testify that that the angel Gabriel gave him the Quran, that's already a good start. At least he has witnesses. The more witnesses you have, the more solid the foundation of your religion, right? Because if you have two witnesses, okay. You have 2 million witnesses, that's it. No argument, right? 2 million people run and say there was an accident 2 blocks away. 2 million people. You have a doubt about it? From all over they're coming. It cannot be a conspiracy here, 2 witnesses, maybe they said it, maybe it's a setup, maybe they plan. 2 million, 15 million Jews saw God give Moses the Torah in Mount Sinai. 15 million witnesses. Now, let's move on. I just want to show you what I said before, how in less than 5 minutes I'm going to prove to you that Quran and the New Testament was not given by God. In less than 5 minutes. Pay attention. That's apart from the Quran. This is the source. You can copy it. The Quran has already adopted the Torah as a part of God, as a book from God. And therefore God cannot contradict Himself in history. If God wrote in the Torah that Pharaoh lived 3,400 years ago. And there was a person in Persia, Haman, lived 2,400 years ago. There's 1,000 years difference between them. But the one who wrote the Quran, that person wasn't such a genius in history. He didn't know the right orders of the generations. And he made up a story with a critical mistake. That Pharaoh and Haman and their advisor were sitting together, and Pharaoh was saying such and such, and there's already a dialogue between Pharaoh and Haman, which could never take place, because when Pharaoh died, Haman only was born 1,000 years later. Another critical mistake in the Quran is that they mixed Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron, which lived 3,400 years ago, the sister of Moses, with Mary, the mother of Yossi. Mary, the mother of Yossi, lived 2,000 years ago. Miriam, the sister of Moshe and Aaron, lived 1,400 years before her. But when they made up the story, they mixed the Virgin Mary that came pregnant to the people, and they got very angry at her. And they told her, hey, your father was a righteous man. What is this strange thing that you're bringing to us? And this is, right here, this is the source. So it says like this. When Maria brought the baby in her hand to the people of her town, they told her, oh, Maria, what a strange thing you brought to us. Oh, the sister of Aaron. Your father wasn't a bad man, and your mother wasn't a prostitute. So why did you do such a thing, right? You became pregnant without a husband. And right after that, Maria, the daughter of Amram. Amram was the father of Miriam and Moshe. So they mixed Miriam, the sister of Moshe, that she's the one, the virgin, that bore a baby without a husband. Two different Miriams. But he didn't know. Why? It wasn't a yeshiva bachur exactly that knew all the stories. And he copied from parts of the Torah and made up a phony story. And today have 1.5 billion people following it, even though there are many, many other mistakes. The reason I don't have time, because it's going to take the entire lecture just to show their mistakes. Now, let's talk a little bit about Christianity.
Watch the debate on.
Yeah, you can watch my debate. I have some DVDs here if you want, right there. You can watch the debate. We don't have that much time to waste on that, but Christianity is full of mistakes. For instance, Yossi, their Messiah, told them no one is allowed to change one mitzvah from the Torah. You have to keep it 100%. If you erase one letter from the Torah, you'll be cursed in the kingdom of heaven. And right after that, he's the one who started to allow them to do whatever they want, to violate the Sabbath and do other sins. So how is it possible? You just came and say, you cannot change one letter, one mitzvah from the Torah, right here in Matthew, in the book of Matthew. And right after that, you allow them to do all kinds of serious violations. So the answer is, of course, yes. When a man wrote the book, he's allowed himself to do whatever he wants. Also, I give you another example. According to the New Testament, the cave of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not in the city of Hebron. They wrote in their book that it's in Nablus. What a critical mistake. God doesn't know where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is buried. The most ignorant Jew in the world, when you ask him where is the cave of the three fathers of the Jewish nation, everybody knows, in Hebron. But he didn't know. So he wrote Shechem, Nablus. And second mistake, in the same verse, the cave that Abraham bought from the children of Hamor. But Abraham didn't buy it from the children of Hamor. In the Torah it says that Abraham bought it from Ephron Achiti, somebody else completely. So two mistakes in the New Testament that shows right away that this book cannot be from God. God should know the details. God doesn't remember the Old Testament, what he wrote over there. Now in part B, he wrote a completely different details. And not only that, when Jacob went to Egypt, according to the Torah, he went with 70 people. But the New Testament, in Act 7, say that he went to Egypt with 75 people. What happened to God? He forgot that there was 70, now all of a sudden it became 75. Hundreds of foolish mistakes in the New Testament. The more you learn about it, the more you laugh. In the beginning, you treat it with respect, because you check. The more you learn about it, you cannot hold your laugh.
But they don't claim
It's such a ridiculous...
They don't claim it's divine.
Sure they do.
The book of Matthew, the book of Ian, the book of...
Well, they think it's-
Sure they do. Sure they do. Those people were writing, right, exactly. It's like Isaiah wrote the words of God.
Claiming it's divine.
Sure they are. Watch my debate with a Christian professor.
Divine means that it was written on the paper by...
No, I didn't know. I think JC is divine. That's right.
Well, in that case, Christianity has no right to exist, according to what you just said. Because if a person like me and you write whatever they want in a book, who wants to treat my book or your book? We can write whatever we want.
Their claim is not as large as our claim is. That's all I'm saying.
No. Watch my debate with a Christian. You have to agree that this Christian professor that teach in a Christian university right here in Manhattan for 31 years, he teach Christianity. He knows a little bit better than me and you, right? I made him that challenge. Your books are divine and they are full of errors, and he surrendered in the end. Why he didn't say what you said?
Did you convert?
What's his
No more questions. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's move on. Yeah. Let's move on. Okay, one other things we have to check very carefully. One other things we have to check very... One other things we... No. One other things we... Worse than Israelis you are. I thought Israelis giving me a hard time. Farsi. All right, so here you go. The original book that was given by Muhammad, today have hundreds of versions. Different Quran in Iran, in Iraq, in Kuwait, in Israel, in America. You put Qurans one next to the other, different text. Hundreds of different texts. How did it happen? Because when Muhammad brought the Quran, right here, so Said copied from Muhammad. And Said made one mistake only. From 100,000 letters that he copied, he made only one mistake. He was a genius. He made only one mistake, believe me. If you copy 100,000 letters with a feather, you're making hundreds of mistakes. But he made only one. I'm going for the minimum, at least one mistake he made. Then Mustafa came and copied from Muhammad and made only one mistake. One. How many differences now between Said and Mustafa? Two. Because he made a mistake in the letter Nun, and he made a mistake in the letter Hey. Right? So now we already have 3 versions right away. Then he copied, this is Muhammad. This is Mahmud. Mahmud copied from Muhammad, and he also made one mistake. So now, how many versions already 4? And you got the concept? Okay. How many different New Testament we have today?
New Testament?
No.
The Christian, you talking
Yeah, the Christians.
The
No.
basic is 4.
How many versions to the New Testament?
Infinity.
150,000 different texts. 150,000. All the way from here to Israel, you can make a bridge, and every step you make, you step on another book, and you will make it all the way to Israel. Each book is different than the other. My conclusion to this, and we move on, is even if God gave them the Quran, like they claim, which we know for sure He didn't, but even if He did, and even if He gave them the New Testament according to their claim, it's gone from the world. You'll never find the original copy. Why? It's like me holding a 10-carat diamond that worth a lot of money, and every one of you has a fake diamond exactly the same. And you're setting me up now. As I presenting my $100 million diamond, special pink diamond, what happened? Each one of you pulled a fake one, threw it at me. Well, I got nervous. The diamond fell on the floor. Now I have 100 diamonds on the floor. Right? Now, which one is the original one? We'll never know. It's perfect copy. Which one? Maybe this is 100 million. Maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. It's gone from the world. It's gone. And that's the concept. The same thing when a divine book falls to the world and someone has the original copy. If when they copy from it, they made mistakes, and over the years you don't know where is the original copy, then the truth of God is missing from the world. It's gone. Just for your knowledge, in case you didn't know, if there is one mistake in the Torah, it's not holy anymore. It's not holy. You can put it in a suitcase and send it with UPS. And they hold it and they throw the Torah like this, no problem. Why? One letter Yud is missing. It's not divine anymore. One letter is missing, or one letter touch another by mistake. So two letters became one now. That's it. It's not divine anymore. You cannot make a bracha on it. You cannot use it. You cannot do anything with it. It's mamash. It's like having a little picture on the wall. Nothing.
Right.
So what do you see from there? Yeah. What do you see from here? So if it's divine, it must be 100% perfect. If there is human modification in it, any slight of a change, it lost its divinity. It's not divine anymore. Finished. So far, everything clear. Let's move on. Why the Jews were so careful that the Jews have one Torah all over the world? You go to Iran, you go to Russia, you go to Syria, you come to the United States, you open the Torah, the same Torah everywhere you go. And the Torah is much longer than the New Testament as far as the text. And also, it's much older, 3,319 years ago. And theirs is 2,000 or 1,400. So the Torah is much, much, much older. The Torah is longer. And all the nations were running after the Jews to destroy them. Nobody ran after the Christians not to practice Christianity. Nobody ran after the Muslims to hide the Quran, because if not, they're going to be destroyed. Everyone fought the Jews not to practice Judaism, but the Jews somehow, 3,300 years, even though they were spread all over the world with no communication, no internet, no telephone, no computers, none of these things, the Jews didn't know one of the other. They were all over the world, and they 50, 60 years ago came back to Israel and opened up the Torah, and it's exactly the same Torah. This is a big miracle. It's against